anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Love, love, love that song. It's our anniversary show.
That's right, ladies
It is
and
our
gentlemen.
third anniversary. Woohoo!
3 years. Attorney Stephen Leahy's been
That's
bringing the information of the IRS to the masses.
Jim, about 2 years. 2 years and 3 months or so. January, February, March, April. Yeah. Yes. 2 years and 3 months for Jim. That's right. The crowd was going wild.
I wasn't planning to take over, but I did it anyway.
It was good, though. I'm glad you did, Jim.
I am, too.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this show. And that's the truth.
This is true.
It is true.
And if it wasn't for you,
well,
we certainly wouldn't have this
We
show.
wouldn't have the IRS radio hour. We'd have something let's not talk about that. You're interested in, we were just talking about it. I don't want to talk about that. Oh, but anyway.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right, Mr. Know-It-All. Mr. Know-It-All, I'm interested in tax law.
I know you are. Who isn't?
That's right.
I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing more interesting than when a bunch of tax attorneys can get together and have fun at a convention. Let me tell you something. That is one fun place.
Look out.
That sounds like...
that is one
tax
fun
attorneys
place.
on the loose. Having fun.
That sounds like the mecca
it's only one step up from accountants. If it is a step up at all. Maybe it's not even a step up at all. But anyway, I know how to have fun, Jim. I do. And that's one of the
down, please.
One of the fun I know how to have is here on the radio show, the IRS Radio Hour, with the gang, with the group, Deborah and Jim.
Woo!
This is it. So now this last week, let's talk about the question. This last week, I had a client come in, and he had what they call a notice of deficiency. This is what you get from the IRS after they audit you. So he was one of the, we've talked on the show before, he used a tax preparer that everybody told him was the greatest because he got the best refund ever. Everybody gets a great refund. Oh, it was unbelievable. But what it was right, this tax preparer lied on everybody's tax returns and got them great refunds, but it was all a lie. And when the IRS learns of these things, what they do is they audit everybody that tax preparer prepared the taxes for, because their number is on all of the returns that they prepare.
Well, it can't be my fault if the tax return or if the tax preparer messes up mine.
Yeah, exactly. Although you do sign your tax form under penalty of perjury, and you are held responsible for what your tax preparer does. So many people think, oh, this guy knows his stuff. I'm just going to sign. I'm not really going to review it. And then he said, well, after when the IRS brought it to my attention, I started seeing, they said, well, what about all these deductions for your business? He said, I don't have a business. Oh, well, where did they get these deductions then? I guess they made him up out of whole cloth. And so they got audited, and they disallowed even all of the deductions that he was entitled to, like his child deductions. And they didn't give him any. And so it turned out that he owed about $60,000 to the IRS. So, given this deficiency, they did 3 years. And so he came to me and with this notice of deficiency. What people don't know is on this notice of deficiency, there's a 90-day period. They give you 2 dates, the date that they filed it and the date and then 90 days later. That 90th day is your deadline that you must file a petition in a tax court in order to have it reviewed. So if you don't go to tax court, it ain't going to be reviewed. You're going to pay the $60,000. And every other year after and before, he always got a refund.
Yeah.
So it seemed like he should get a refund those years
too.
Just
makes sense.
He was a W-2 employee. They took taxes out of his
He
check.
worked for George W. Bush.
W-2. I get it. They took taxes out of his check.
Nobody. This is.
I thought it was funny.
Crowd out here today.
But I'm busy telling people about this.
I know. I'm sorry.
The
Please
deficiency. But anyway, it turned out that his deadline was 2 days away. He didn't even know it was a deadline. He was just gonna say, "Well, I'll just pay it. Can you help me come up with an installment agreement to pay the $60,000?" I told him, "You might not owe this $60,000." He said, "Well, I don't think I do, but what else am I going to do now?" Well, on this notice of deficiency, there was a date on there, and you could file a tax. And if you owe less than $50,000 in a year, you could go to small claims court. So it's a small case, and you can file it with the IRS. with the tax court, and then it goes to appeals again. So it doesn't go to a lawyer or the judge right away. They send it back to an appeal, and you can go back and amend your returns again and try to get satisfaction that way. And sometimes that's the best way to do it, because you're going to be able to work something out and have them a lot of the deductions that they didn't allow. If you have substantiation, some documents, they'll allow them. But but too many people, I think, throw their hands up and say, well, there's nothing I can do. And they don't really address the problem. So that's why it's important to see something. You get a notice of deficiency, and in this case, he was 2 days before the deadline. Don't wait that long. It really puts a burden on you. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all.
That is right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we've been on the radio for 3 years, so there's 3 years' worth of material at ChicagoTaxTeam.com. That's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. If we don't answer your show, or
your question
on this show, it will be there, I guarantee you. Also, too, give Opum Tax Resolution a call if you want instant gratification. 312-664-6649. If you have a question, tell Bonnie, who's going to answer the phone, that you listen to the radio, and Attorney Leahy will answer your question. Guaranteed. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned here on AM 560, The Answer. We're going to wrap this up IRS Radio Hour style here on AM 560, The Answer.